So one of the other games I had been working on was an Aegis Wing type game. I loved the game Aegis Wing, and let's face it, it was one of the great arcade games, especially since it was made free. I did have a few problems with the fact that how short it was, and I didn't really like the whole pick up power-ups things. I'm more of a customize my stuff and go into battle type guy. So what I was working on was a cooperative type shooter. Basically, it was a two-player. You could play at one computer, two players. The basic design was 3D ships, various models, and basically you would play as a person in a war, etc., facing aliens, blah blah blah. It had a story. It would have 3D cutscenes and stuff, which I never actually finished. I had one almost done, but I don't know what ever happened to it. I lost it. The ships themselves are actually 3D models, which I modeled using a program and then just took pretty much screenshots of it and then transposed it into the screen itself. Now, one of the main things, as you can see, some of the textures aren't completely done, like weapons and stuff aren't really finished. They're just like shapes with colors. But one of the things is your basic weapons and your basic ship layout. You'll start off with things like just the basic machine gun, which shoots about this fast. What you can do is upgrade your ship between missions using money that you get by destroying ships. Now, the money system's not in play yet. I have it disabled. I also have infinite life disabled. This bar up top right here, the red one, that's actually health, which my guy already took a little bit of damage. The blue is energy, which you use from energy, weapons, and equipment. Now, between missions, you would activate an equipment screen like this. Basically, up here, it tells you the different information about your stuff. Now, the reason it looks like this right now is just because it's supposed to be both screens. It would have one for the one player, one for the other one. Right now, it's just set up for one. Basically, what you could do is you could go through, you could choose your ship. As you can see, there's different ships, different types, different classes. I'll go through those real quick. So basically, you start off with the Falcon, which is just a very standard ship, standard speed, standard armor, blah blah blah. Nothing really special. Your next one is your bomber, which you would be able to buy. Now the bomber can hold extra ammo, which I will show you real quickly by buying a weapon that uses ammo. So first I'm going to let's just buy some guided missiles. We'll attach them to slot 2. Now if you look at the top, it says this is the ammo counters. 3 of these are ammo counters. It says I have 20. If I buy this ship, as you can see, it changes to 40. If I select this ship again, it switches back to 20. But switch that one back to none, just for the time being. The next one is the Sparrow Assault Ship, which is really fast. As you can see, the normal Falcon moves this fast. If I buy this ship, it moves this fast, which is pretty much a lot faster. The next one is a Dynamo, which has a lot more energy. I'll switch to an energy type weapon real quick. Now, switch back to the Falcon. Now, as you see, I'll use an energy weapon real quick, and as you can see, it's about 60%. If I buy this, now it only switches down to 80, so it's pretty much 10% difference. So if you're using a lot of energy weapons, this is the kind of ship you're going to want. Also, another thing I should notice is that if I was planning to make it so if you bought weapons, it would actually add them to your ship itself. I have not implemented that yet. Anyways, the next one's the tank. This just gives you a lot of armor. This is basically if you know you're going to be facing a pretty tough boss and you have 2 players and you want one of your players to be like a tank. That was the basic design I was going for. You could give this guy a shield and he'd be able to take a lot of extra damage. His other ability was also the fact that he was supposed to be able to, he was supposed to be able to get an extra weapon. Not an extra weapon, but an extra item that other ones couldn't use, which would allow them to hold even more armor, but I haven't built that yet. Never built that yet. And the final one is the Chimera. Now this is supposed to be one that you would only be able to get after so far through the game. Now you'd unlock this one, and it's basically how to explain it. It was supposed to be like, it's just a hybrid of all the different ships. As you can see that the Falcon's in there, the Bomber's in there, the Dynamo's in there, the whatever, they're all in there. But anyways, it also has the ability to regenerate armor. So the easiest way to show you that is to go ahead and spawn in a real quick bad guy who will shoot me. And I'll take a hit. As you can see, my armor starts to regenerate. That guy off the screen. So that's what that does. Now let's move on to weapons. Switch back to the Falcon. Now the first 3 weapons are slot 1s, which goes down here. These are your basic weapon, your basic firing weapons. So as you see, you start off with a machine gun, and you fire it. Then you could buy the machine cannon, which is the bigger version of a machine gun. And then if you feel up to it, you buy the laser. Now the laser cannon does use energy, but it uses such a small amount that it actually doesn't take nothing away unless you're draining energy. You constantly regenerate the energy, except for when you're draining energy from like equipment. And then we move into slot 2, 3, and 4s, which any of these can fit into. Now, I was eventually going to make it so certain weapons had to fit in certain slots, but I haven't gotten to that point. Now, the guided missiles, we'll buy the rocket, we'll skip that one, and we'll keep the laser at the bottom. Now, the different weapons, pretty much the guided missiles are guided missiles. At this point, since there's no enemies on the screen, they'll head backwards, and they'll track targets. Now, if it blows up a target, it'll move on to another target. The rocket is just a rocket, straight across. The laser fires a laser. Now the thing about the laser is, though, if you're flying around and you activate the laser, your character stops, and it fires until it dissipates. Now the laser itself does damage over time, so the longer an enemy is inside the laser, the more damage it does. That's how all energy weapons and explosions work. Now, let's see. I'll bring a basic spinner type on screen. Now, the enemies, the spinner is actually not the basic or the most basic type. The most basic type looks similar to the spinner, except it's just a circle with one line through it. Spinner actually has a shield. Now, the shields aren't actually working at the moment because I tweaked them at right before I got pulled away from the project. So the shields only take like 1 or 2 hits before they actually blow up from anything. But anyways, the spinners basically just come out and spin, move, and spin. But now let's show off the guided missiles. So as you see, there's no longer a target, so they'll head backwards to the reset point. That's pretty much how that works. As you can see, I can keep moving, just move, fire. All the rockets head in this direction. Now, guided missiles are very, very, very useful, but they're also very expensive. And by expensive, I mean if the money system was activated, they would cost a lot. We also have the regular rocket. The regular rocket just fires straight, but it does as much damage as 2 missiles. But as I told you, the shield system causes it to be less useful. And the laser, as I showed you before, you fire it, and the longer they're inside, the more damage they take. Now moving on, let's try the this weapon, the scatter shot, and we'll also attach the shield gen and the booster. Okay, so first thing, bring out a spinner. Just so you know, I'm using little cheat commands that are on the side that you guys can't see. Anyway, so I press the scatter shot. It's like a shotgun blast that goes in all directions. At close range, it can do a lot of damage because all those different BBs can do separate damage. Let's see. Okay, so for the other 2 things are pretty much just equipment. One is a shield, which creates an energy shield around the ship. If I take any damage, all the damage is absorbed by the shield until my energy bar reaches 0 and the entire shield dissipates. I don't take any damage. So I can actually head-on collision, or yeah, I can collide head-on with any ship and take 0 damage as long as I have the shield on. And as long as I don't get hit by their explosion. Let's see. And then we also have the booster. If you watch the flame in the back of my ship, it's now blue. As you see, I move a lot faster. This really comes in its own when you start using the faster ships. But as you can see, it also drains energy. Now the booster itself drains energy as you use it, but also if you actually move, it drains even faster. And then if you run out of energy, it turns off. So I'm going to bring out, oops. That's not what I wanted to do. Just ignore that for the moment. Okay. I want to bring out this one. So, okay, now let me show you the shield. Oops. Wrong button. Wow. You can see, take a hit, oh, and the shield's gone. Wow. Take a hit. Wow. Now, there's also a limit, which I have turned down, but normally you have to wait until you have a certain amount of energy before you can actually turn on your shield. So you couldn't just keep turning it on and off, turning it on and off, like that. It's supposed to be like 10-15% or something like that, but it's not actually based on a percentage, it's based on the actual amount of energy the ship has. Also, let's see. So you can also use the shield and the thrusters at the same time. Obviously, it just drains really fast. But I also want to go over to this one, which I'm sure you've all been waiting to see. And I also want to get back to this one for here. And let's try that. Yeah, okay. So the nuke is a nuke. You fire it, and then you press the button again to explode it. You only get one, unless you have the ammo ship, which in case you can hold 2, since it's called a bomber. So I fire it, then I press the button again. Anything caught inside the explosion takes a certain amount of damage. Now there's another button I can use, which is I can call in a supply ship, which I press a button, and here comes a supply ship. It'll run through, across the map, come down, and drops 2 ammo packs and 2 health kits. If there's 2 players. Normally it's only supposed to drop 1 if there's 1 player. But now, as you see, I have more ammo. Now to show you the amount of damage, watch my health bar as I fire it. The closer I get to the center, the faster the damage goes. But as you can see, I die really quickly. Okay, what else? Oh, okay. So, let me bring back in the supply ship. I'll go over a few of the other enemies. So we've already seen this banner. I've already explained the standard ships. Stealth. Now this ship is pretty unique. This is one of my early ideas. You can barely see it, but once it appears, it fires its 2 energy torpedoes. And it drops mines, as you can see, barely see it. Now if you shoot the mines, they explode, which is fine. But now obviously the stealth ship is still overpowered. It shouldn't be shooting torpedoes, 2 torpedoes every time. That wasn't the actual design, and you're supposed to be able to shoot the torpedoes. But the thing I want to really show you is the mine itself. So blow that up. But here's what the mine does. The mine is an electro mine, which means if I touch it, it not only does damage, it also causes my ship to stop moving. Now my ship can't move until I get charged back. I also lose all of my energy. And the overall damage is based on the amount of energy you don't have. Obviously it's not 100% working yet, because it only takes away about 20 damage. 20%. But it's supposed to be based on the energy you have. But I do like the stealth of the ship. I think it's pretty cool. It really does blend in. As you see, all the shields where the ships are just surface, and explosions are the same. But But one of the other ships, I guess I should show you what you saw earlier, the healing pod. The green, every once in a while it'll eject a green beam or a green glow. Now if any friendly ships are nearby, those ships will actually get healed. But if it takes too much damage, it goes nuclear. And what it does is it just shoots an EMP instead of doing damage. And it also shoots one missile, which is okay. But as I said, you're supposed to be able to shoot the missile. But as I said, the EMP, the closer you are, the more damage it does. Well, okay, that was kind of glitched. Also, it wasn't fixed yet. Let's try it again. Well, there we go. You actually gotta stay in the dark blue area. The white part's supposed to do damage. More, or it's supposed to do more, but it's disabled. So if I stay in the light blue or dark blue part, and it does enough, it actually shorts me out. So, as opposed to doing damage. One of the next ones that we have is just labeled big for the moment. I never actually came up with names. So that is a ship. I was saying to make 3D models, which I never did. This one's supposed to fire random torpedoes, not 4 at once. But as you see, it also has a turret which fires at me every so often. Let's bring it back in again. So as it goes across the screen, it fires from a turret, and it also fires from the missiles. And the missiles are supposed to be random. So, blow that up. Now the next one is just called Bigger. This is more like the Aegis Wing version, where it comes in, and it fires a big old laser, but it also has a turret which fires a laser. So if I'm down here, I gotta get out of the way of that turret. Now the first thing you'll see is it fires a thin line, which is targeting. Now if I get out that laser fast enough, I won't take that much damage. Let it fire one more time. But as you see, it works really fast. The next one is called, well, just labeled Huge. This one is a mothership type. It's like a boss battle. Pretty much this one you would have to fight like at the end of a level. What it does, it has 2 normal shooting cannons and a laser cannon. But at the same time, the belly of the ship drops turret pods. And they drop at random locations and travel across the map. So you can have up to like 6 or 7 of these on the map at any given time. And they keep fighting until you actually destroy the ship. One of the next ones that we have is the Pendulum. It's more of a seek or destroy type. There'd be a few of these at any given time on the map. Oop, there it is. And what it's designed to do is actually, it'll sit there in one spot and look for you. It would have an interesting idle animation. I was thinking about some like jets and stuff. Pretty much like what it does is the minute it hones in on you, it just jets right for you. It's a suicide type. Like that. But like I said, there'd be like a few of them on screen at any given time. You'd have like 3 or 4 of them. And you'd be sitting there dodging back and forth. Now the targeting on them was broken, which meant it couldn't target more than one player, so it would only target the first player. But I was working on a way to make it so you could have 2 different types out at one time. Because there was no way to fix the targeting. Literally no way. So you literally have, you could have one type fighting against one player, one guy fighting against the other player. And if there was only one player available, they would both fight this one player. So yeah. Oh, there's also one more thing I guess I could show, which is the fighter drop play, or the bomber. The sprite's actually from a different game, which you'll probably recognize. But all it does is just comes across the screen and drops a whole bunch of bombs and hits any enemies nearby. Obviously that would cost you money. But yeah, this is my Aegis Wing version of the game, or my version of Aegis Wing.